happening. So what you then do is you go to the witch doctor who will cast bones on the ground or read tea leaves, and he will tell you, this or that's causing your problem. And then he will give you medicine and give you some kind of ritual that you need to do. You need to go make a sacrifice, or you need to do this or that in order to counteract that power that's working against you. And then sometimes you can also, by going to the witch doctor, get power to help you to succeed in whatever you want to do. So it's really about manipulating spirit power. So when people become Christian, that worldview doesn't go away. What happens is Christianity comes and then sits on top of that worldview. And here's how it looks when it comes out. Since I first went to Africa in 1982, I realized that I'd started noticing people coming out of church and they'll go, God is going to bless me. And I'll go, why do you say that? Well, because we went to church today. We put money in the collection plate, we took the Lord's Supper, and we sang without an instrument. We did it right. We did worship right. God is going to bless us. Yeah, but what about this woman you're seeing that, it's not married? Or what about your drinking? Or what about you're dishonest in your business? You're a policeman. You're taking bribes, You're a government official. Yeah. But we went to church today. God is going to bless me. So the idea is if I do something for God, then He's going to do something for me. The idea that your relationship with God totally transforms who you are and how you live in every component of your life and how you treat other people, that's a concept they don't understand. It's about manipulating spirit power. But you don't manipulate God. And by the way, that's a lot of what's going on in the Old Testament if you'll read it and with that understanding. So we got to help people understand what a relationship with God really entails. And that's involving a major worldview shift, which is pretty drastic. But anyway, I don't have any time to go on it. I've spent 15 years developing what I just shared with you. So by the way, I teach a classless whole semester on this. And I could do 3 or 4 actually. But anyway, we've developed our training program so that we try to accomplish those 8 different things. We also want our students to be self-supporting. We do not want them to be a burden to the churches. The churches of Africa cannot afford full-time preachers. They cannot afford. A few maybe in the big cities, but that's very rare. They can't afford them. But what we've been doing, we've been training these students through our Bible college, and they have the expectation they're going to go out there and get a job. And they go out to a church, and that church can't really pay them. And then we have all kinds of bad things happening. They're stealing from the church treasury, and, we got real problems with that. So we don't want them to be a burden to the church. So we're trying to teach our students to be self-supporting, and that's one of our part of our mission statement. So we teach our students how to do agriculture. When our students come, day one, that's why we have a full-time agriculture teacher. Day one, they get out there and we start teaching them how to do their gardens. We got 50 acres. We give every student a plot of land. He immediately starts digging his raised beds. We start teaching them basic fundamentals about agriculture, simple stuff that they don't know. And we teach them how to do raised beds with composting and especially the use of drip irrigation and different kind of vegetables they can use and crop rotation and all that kind of stuff. But we teach them drip irrigation because in Zambia you can grow food year-round. The problem is you don't have water for 7 months out of the year. It doesn't rain a drop for 7 months. We get 4 or 5 months of rains in the rainy season. They just started, by the way, a week or so ago. And they'll last until the first part of April if we're lucky. We were not lucky a year ago. We're in a bad drought, and the rains, thankfully, have now started. But they only get 4 or 5 months of rain. Then it doesn't rain a drop. I mean, not a drop for 7 months. But you can grow food year-round if you have water. But they don't have running water. They have to walk 3 or 4 or 5 miles to get the water. But if they can get enough water to fill 3 or 4 of these buckets every day, then they can more than adequately grow enough vegetables for their family and even have leftover they can sell in the marketplace and earn some money, especially in the dry season when there are no fresh vegetables around very much. So they can produce fresh vegetables. We immediately start teaching our students this. Now, when our students come, I feed them for 3 months until their gardens start producing the vegetables. And after 3 months, I don't feed them anymore. So for the pretty much the whole 3 years that they're with us, they are self-supporting. That ensures that our students master the skills in agriculture that we're teaching them. And as a result, we have seen all our students go out and they're all succeeding and doing very, very well in agriculture. We also teach them how to raise chickens, because you can make some good money in Zambia raising chickens. And we just started building a piggery. We're going to start teaching them how to raise pigs. You can really make some money doing that. Now, what we're trying to do is we're teaching our students, don't you expect the church to give you a dime. In fact, you make enough money that you can help support the ministry of the church. We're flipping it. And I'm telling you what, we're hearing from our students, and we've hammered that in so much that when I start hearing from our graduates, they all want to tell me, that's one of the things they want to tell me, I'm making money and I'm doing this and this in ministry. In other words, they're proud that they got the point. So it's been pretty fun to see that happen. We also are teaching our students to do holistic ministry. That means ministering both to the physical and the spiritual needs of people. And we're doing that because in Africa, physical suffering is so great that you can't ignore the physical suffering of people. You've got to speak to that, and you've got to try to help people with their daily suffering in life. So we're trying to teach our students how to minister to people, both the spiritual but also the physical as well. And the best way you teach people how to minister to people spiritually and physically is through practical experience. And you'll hear me say that a lot. You learn by doing. So if you want people to learn how to do holistic ministry, we got to get them out there doing it. So that's how we have developed our program. Every Saturday and Sunday, our students are going off campus. They walk, they go by bicycle, they go in the villages, and we teach them, you go out there and you start by serving people. You go out there and you find a widow whose house is leaking, and the rains have come and her house is leaking. You re-thatch her roof. You find a man who's sick with HIV or AIDS or whatever he can't tend to or harvest his crops, you help him with his farming. You find someone who's sick, you pray with them. You walk 5 miles and get medicine for them. You help a guy fix his bicycle, whatever. You just go out there and you just start, because Jesus said men will know you by your love. They'll know you're my disciples. So go out there and serve and be a blessing to people. And I want to tell you, no one in Africa does that kind of thing for people if you're not related to them. And when we go to these villages and we start doing this, they'll say, whose grandmother is that? She's not grandmother to any of us. And they're like, well, why are you doing that? Nobody does that, you know. And then we see them puzzled, and we say, we do that because that's what Christians do. We're the people of Jesus. And so it don't take long, and they start saying, oh, these people, we welcome them into our village. They're the people of Jesus. Well, that opens up the door to start teaching. And, of course, that's what eventually leads to being able to study the Bible. I'm going to talk more about this in the sermon, by the way. All right, so we're teaching them how to minister to people spiritually and physically by practical doing, practical training out there in the village. We're also teaching them agriculture, as I've already mentioned, not only so they can support themselves, but because when they go back to the village, we want them to teach the people in the village how to do this. And most of our students go back and they teach the members in the church how to do the things that they have learned in agriculture. That's how we solve the problem of Zambia being the most malnourished country in Africa. All these expensive UN programs and USAID and I don't know. Boy, I don't go into that. What a waste. It's all using computers and tractors and things Zambians can't afford and do and can't maintain. And you got to teach simple, reproducible, affordable, sustainable agriculture. Simple agriculture. And that's what really will make the difference. And then we also want our students, as I've already mentioned, we want them to learn how to work with children, both to be a school teacher and to work with the children in a spiritual capacity in the village. And so our students learn how to do that by coming over into our primary school and get experience doing that. We also give them experience how to work with vulnerable children and orphans. They learn from Karen's Kids Ministry. We teach them basic agriculture. This is an area Lori does where there is no doctor, and basic medicine she teaches them. And we also do a lot in marriage to family, and I'm about to run out of time, so I can't say any more about that. But there's a real problem with that. So that's how we're doing holistic ministry. We have the Bible College, we have the Karen's Kids Children's Ministry in the primary school, but we're teaching our students to minister also to people, both the spiritual and the physical. So you see, what we're doing in Zambia is a whole lot more than just a classroom. Man, it would be so easy if all we had to do is just do a classroom. Easy, easy. It's all this other stuff that takes a lot of hard work, and that's why we have more teachers than most Bible colleges have, because our teachers are doing a whole lot of work outside the classroom. But that's what it takes if you want to develop the spiritual life and character of the students. There's other ministries I'm running out of time. I don't have time to get into, like the optical clinic. We have a nice big donated expensive machine that can read people's eyes and produce a subscription, and we can match them with donated subscription glasses, and we also give reading glasses. So anyway, that's kind of a real summary of our ministry. I want to close by sharing with you how are our students doing after they graduate? What are we hearing from some of our graduates? So I want to real quickly run through this. Lazarus, who is a 2019 graduate, ministering for a church over in the Eastern Province. I'm going to put a map. You can see where Daybreak Bible College is right in the middle. So he's working over in the Eastern Province. He supports himself through ministry. I'll keep repeating that. They all do. They're all farming, supporting themselves, and teaching the people in the church how to do that as well. Crispin, 2020 graduate. He and his wife were two of our most spiritual-minded students. He's very evangelistic. He's working for a church way down in the southern province. That church barely existed when he moved there about 3-4 years ago, and now that church has grown to be over 100 members, and he sent me that picture here a few weeks ago. I've got to turn the afterburners on here. He supports himself through his agriculture and teaching people in the church how to do the same. Who's next? King Soko, 2020 graduate, working for a church out doing ministry in the Eastern Province, active in evangelism, supports himself through his agriculture. He writes and says, much thanks to the donors for the godly support that they render to me who want to serve God and win the lost. I am who I am today because God used you to support Daybreak Bible College. May God abundantly continue to bless the donors so that they can bless others. A 2020 graduate. He is working for a church way out in a very remote part of Zambia, up against the Malawi border, very poor area, but doing a wonderful work out there. He is involved in evangelism, supports himself through his agriculture. He says, he wrote and said he never thought he would become a minister for God when he started at Daybreak, but he says he became a totally transformed person at Daybreak and wants to do the same for others by helping them to know who God is and His mission. And when I hear from the students, we videotape the students right before they graduate, and they write little letters and stuff, and I get all that stuff. And the one word I'm looking for the most, and from the feedback I hear from the students, is the word transformation. That's the key word I'm always looking for. And it's exciting when I see the students talking. That is what they, number one, talk about in their graduating statements. They all talk about how they've changed and how they're going to go out there, and they don't want people just to go to church. They're working to bring about life transformation in the life of people. And that's when I know they got it. But I want to tell you what, we hammer that like crazy. That's what it's really all about, because that's our number one priority. Meshach, 2020 graduate. He's from the northern province, but he's working for a church down in Mazabuka, teaching the church the agriculture that he's learning. The church is growing. They're starting a building program now. He writes and says, I'm no longer the same Meshach people used to know before I attended Daybreak, but a transformed person. I have learned the love of God and how to love others. There's that word again, transformed person. Meshach went home after 2 years. He went home to visit his home village. Been away for 2 years, went back during Christmas break, and he came back, and I saw him in January. And when he got back, and he said, I went home, and they said, what have you done with Meshach? They said they didn't recognize me. They said, you are a different person. You look like Meshach, but you're not Meshach. He went on and on. He was so excited that they could see he was a totally transformed person. See, that's what I'm looking for. Roderick, 2020 graduate, teaching Bible up in the northern province. He's active in prison ministry. He was preaching on a radio station, and that goes all over the whole entire nation of Zambia. Active in evangelism. He's one of our most capable students, and he just started a Bible college, getting a 4-year degree in Bible down in South Africa. And when he graduates, he's going to come and become part of our teaching staff. Well, it looks like I'm running out of time here. A Doubt 2021 graduate, preaches for a church down in Southern Province. That church was almost dying. That's his home church, but he went back and started a disciple-making program, and that church is growing, and they've started a building program, and of course supports himself through his agriculture. Martin Gashimbi works for a church down in Monzé in the southern